built Delmar Loop. So thank you.
Viewers are actually familiar with him, but he's so laid back. He's very warm and welcoming. He tells great stories. I've grown up in
I am getting ready to enter the Eclipse restaurant located in the bottom of Moonrise Hotel, owned by Joe Edwards. I'm excited to be here today, and this place is absolutely gorgeous. I have never been in the Moonrise Hotel. Hello world, and welcome back to another episode of the Benita Show. I am here with one of the largest entrepreneurs in St. Louis, Mr. Joe Edwards, who owns most of Delmar Loop, has received a number of honorary degrees, honorary of doctorate in law from Washington University, honorary of doctorate in fine arts from the St. Louis University, and honorary of doctorate in humane letters from the Missouri University of Missouri. So I am honored to be here with Mr. Edwards, and thank you so much for coming on the show, Mr. Edwards. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
We are here at the Moonrise Hotel, which is one of the buildings that Mr. Edwards has created. He's such a visionary, and he is talented across the board in all of these big ideas that he has brought to Delmar Loop. And the American Planning Association has named Delmar Loop as one of the top 10 streets in America. How do you plead, Mr. Edwards?
I think it's wonderful that they designated the Loop as one of the 10 great streets, because we were in good company with St. Charles Avenue in New Orleans and South Beach in Miami and North Michigan Avenue in Chicago. I mean, big time streets. So it brought a lot of attention to St. Louis, not just to the Loop, but travel writers started coming in from England and France and Japan. Ooh, St. Louis must have something going for it.
Right. And I know about maybe about 20 years ago, Delmar Loop was kind of on the decline, and you came along and kind of rebuilt a lot of things here. It kind of got the people of St. Louis back involved in Delmar Loop.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see a street getting better instead of declining. And the turnaround started about 40 years ago when I first opened Blueberry Hill, and realized within a week of opening that if I didn't work on the area, Blueberry Hill wouldn't make it.
Right.
And so I started, and it was a slow process back then.
Right.
Because half the storefronts were vacant or had offices in them, and not restaurants, galleries, or clothing boutiques, and our music clubs. And it just became gradually better and better, and now it's one of the best areas, one of the safest city streets in all the Midwest. The crime rate's at the lowest in 40 years, because so many people are on the sidewalks and so many people care about their stores and their neighborhoods, both the residents that live in the area and the merchants that have shops here.
Wow. What first gave you the idea to start all of this entrepreneurship building and rebuilding Delmar Loop? What inspired that idea?
I think just love of St. Louis. I grew up in St. Louis, born and raised here. The only time away I went to Duke University for 4 years. But I really love this area and community, and to have an impact on one part of St. Louis is just kind of a dream come true, really. And there are a lot of other people that work on it too. I've kind of helped guide it along and build some new things, fill in spots where buildings have collapsed with new buildings, renovate old buildings. The historic architecture is very nice. The Tivoli movie theater building and several others that I have renovated.
Any family that's in the building business, or is it just something you wanted to do?
You know, life takes its funny turns. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life when I opened Blueberry Hill. And I thought, well, if I open a pub and restaurant where I could unbox my pop culture collections and put them on display, and then program the jukebox with the music I loved, and I have a large record collection on, and I was hoping that people would respond to that, and they did. And little by little, it grew from 2 little storefronts to now it takes up the whole city block.
Yes.
And for 10 different rooms now for private events, for public events, and really good food, good drinks, and good music. And it's kind of exciting watching that progression. But then I started working on other areas, not in the real estate part at first. I never even thought about it, other than the Blueberry Hill building. And when the Tivoli Theater building was about to be torn down in 1994, that's when I just, that building can't be torn down. It's architecturally significant, it's beautiful, or it was in bad shape, but it was originally very beautiful. And it really needed to be saved, and that's the first time I really got into a total gut renovation of a building. And I learned a lot from that, and realized that if I would really change my whole life around and take huge risks again financially, then I could have a much bigger effect and impact on the area. Because by that time, by 1994, I'd paid off all my debts and had no loans out or anything, and I could sleep peacefully at night. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go for it, and talk to the banks, and went from that building to another building to another one, and now the Loop is a little bit better.
How did you get the financing and the backing to do all of these things?
It was tough in the beginning. I knew I had, since I didn't have any loans outstanding, I knew I had enough collateral to be able to purchase the Tivoli building. But I didn't know if I could get the loans to fix it up, and it was tricky. Finally, two banks together said that they would finance it after several said that they weren't that interested in it. And once that was up and running, and they realized when I renovate, I do it in a first-class way. When I do anything, I try to do it in a first-class way. And then that increases the odds of it being successful. And
so they knew your track record.
Yeah, and once the Tivoli was successful, then it became a little bit easier, at least to get their attention. Each project always has to go through the same process, no matter how many you have, but it's like on the pageant, when I realized it was really time to extend the vitality of the Loop into the city of St. Louis and started reclaiming the next couple of blocks of Delmar. I got turned down 9 times for bank loans on that project, and finally the bank said yes, and it was successful and had to be right from the beginning, or that would have been it for me. But it was.
Right. So your persistence paid off.
It does, and sometimes it's hard to get all psyched up again to go to yet another bank and act like you're in there for the first time and all enthusiastic, and here's the business plan, and here's what I think will happen, and why it's important for St. Louis and the region. And but now at least they return my calls.
And the Tivoli is beautiful, magnificent, by the way. I mean, I have all of your buildings. I'm here for the first time at the Moonrise, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And I just hadn't been here. And we do a lot of independent films at the Tivoli, so I'm a part of that. And so thank you for keeping those doors open for us, the independent filmmakers. What would you say is your worst piece of business advice that anybody has ever given you? What's your worst business advice ever given to you?
I think right in the very beginning, as I was contemplating opening Blueberry Hill, pretty much everybody said that that's a bad area, don't go in there, and the restaurant business is such a tricky business, pick a different type of career for your life.
And that time, gangs were heavily in.
There were outlaw motorcycle gangs, and there were drug dealers and all. And,
so everybody told you don't do it. Bad risk. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, and I can see where they would think that, but the rent was really low because the area had declined pretty much. It was near a wonderful university, Washington University, which is a big plus, and the architecture, as I said earlier, it was really nice in the area. So I was young enough that I was willing to take that chance at the time, despite the admonitions of various people.
Wow. So the word of advice would be don't give up, keep persistence pays off, right?
It does.
What would you say is your top 3 pieces of advice that you would give to up-and-coming entrepreneurs?
Well, one thing, and this may sound a little goofy, but have good file cabinets, have a good filing system so you can find stuff right away, and you can keep track of everything, and you don't get caught short on when you're getting audited. I need this paper. It sounds basic, but too many times people don't keep a good file system.
Right.
Another thing would be it helps to be a little bit naive about how much work it's going to take. If I had known ahead of time how many hours I would have to work at Blueberry Hill those first 18 months without a day off, I don't know if I could have psyched up to start it. So so it does help to be a little bit naive. But don't let that stop you from it. Just jump into it.
We're here at the, excuse me, we're here at the Moonrise Hotel, and you hear the bar going on in the back. They're making a mixed drink back there. So you guys got to come on down to the Moonrise Hotel and visit their bar. It's beautiful back there. You're going to see pictures of it, but apparently he's mixing up some really good stuff back there. But go ahead with that.
And then I think the third point I would make would be just do everything first class. Don't scrimp too much. I mean, make sure you have enough money for the project to do everything you want. Sometimes people spend their money on all the infrastructure part, like the kitchen and the so-and-so, that the public doesn't see, and then they're either out of money or they don't want to spend any more money to put those final details on, the colorful ones, the decor, just the whatever paintings or whatever types of lighting you might want. But just do it first class, and you just increase your odds immensely.
That is awesome advice, even for myself. And I went around and I've got some sheets of all your paintings. They're gorgeous. And you really took a lot of time picking out, I'm sure, every piece. They just, yeah.
Yeah, well, some of it I commissioned the artwork and
Okay.
Would work with the artist. Let's do it. Let's do a little more this way, and just till it got to a real friendly, happy, glowing, colorful state.
Now you have some blown glass in your foyer in the Moonrise. I studied him in one of my classes, the artist who does the blown glass.
Julia is the one that it was inspired by, but this was actually done by a disciple. I mean, somebody that would admire him a lot and studied him. But it's gorgeous.
It is beautiful. And all of your pieces here.
I love having display cases. That's kind of my trademark of the various places I open. And at the Moonrise Hotel, there are display cases. They are both in the Eclipse restaurant at the Moonrise Hotel and in the lobby. Some of it's really rare space and lunar related, and some is more whimsical, like Christmas ornaments and little toy banks.
You gonna give us a tour?
Sure, be happy to.
What's the average work day like for you there?
It varies a lot because of the entertainment aspect of some of the businesses like the Pageant and Blueberry Hills Duck Room. Some days I get up at 7 o'clock and start meetings maybe at 8:30 or 9. I try not to, but work all the way. Right now I'm literally working 7 days and 5 nights a week because of all these projects that just kind of coming to a head at the same time.
Because you put a solar panel in on the rooftop of here?
Yeah, we'll go up, I'll show you that.
Okay.
Building a whole new room called the New Moon Room.
The New Moon Room. Tell us about your sidewalk of fame, the St. Louis Sidewalk of Fame.
Yeah, in 1988, I founded the nonprofit St. Louis Walk of Fame to draw attention to the great St. Louisans that have affected our culture nationally on a meaningful way. It was frustrating for me when I would see a television special about somebody or read a magazine article and they'd say, so-and-so was born in St. Louis or so-and-so was raised in St. Louis. And even though most of the time I knew it, sometimes I didn't. And I figured, well, we ought to shout this to the world and let St. Louisans know about their legacy as well as just let people from all around the country know how great St. Louis is. And we're about to celebrate the 250th birthday of St. Louis next year of 2014. So anyway, I started it, and it was real important to me not to have a star in the sidewalk with a person's name on it, but in addition to the star, have an informative plaque so that it can be an educational attraction to tell a little bit about what they did on a national level and their connections to St. Louis. And that way, teachers bring their school groups and they do chalk rubbings of the stars and plaques and take them back to the classrooms to do reports. It's really can be inspirational and they can get new role models, good role models.
Yeah, you have Tina Turner on there, Nelly, quite a few. One day, the Benita Show is going to be on here, right? I'm working hard. I still got about 20, 30 more years to go, but I'm working on it. Oh my goodness. Tell our viewers where they can find this Sidewalk of Fame.
The beauty of the St. Louis Walk of Fame is it's on both sides of Delmar, from the 6100 block to the 6600 blocks of Delmar, and you can just walk up one side and down the other. It's a self-touring attraction. You can walk it as fast as you want or as slowly as you want, or you can focus on one. A lot of people take pictures next to Nellie Star or another Cedric the Entertainer or somebody like that. and it's really nice. I mean, it's out there 24/7 all year long.
That is great. That is great. Any last thing you'd like to tell our viewers about all of this entrepreneurship, all your buildings, and any last piece of advice to give to the world?
I don't have any brilliant piece of advice.
Before we go on a tour of this beautiful, magnificent place.
But I think if people do come down to tour the St. Louis Walk of Fame, they should look at the Chuck Berry statue that was just installed about a year ago, right across from Blueberry Hill, where the great legend still plays once a month. The first person inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the first person inducted in the St. Louis Walk of Fame. There's an 8-foot statue done by St. Louis sculptor Harry Weber. He's a wonderful sculptor. He has pieces all around the country, and he was the one that did this statue. It's just great.
Awesome. Well, let me see. Anything else? I think we've covered it all.
I think people can watch for additional things coming to the Loop. There's the Loop Trolley Project.
That's right.
That I've been working on for many years, and lots of other people are now working on it too. And it's really getting closer and closer. And I'm hoping that ground can be broken on the project this summer, and it might be up and running the following summer of 2014.
Oh, that is going to be cool.
It's going to be marvelous.
San Francisco, look out, because St. Louis is building a trolley, and that's awesome. I almost forgot about that. Thank you. Wow, you just hands in a lot of different pots. Tell us about the pinup bowl.
Well, as I was revitalizing and renovating some of the buildings east of Skinker in the city of St. Louis, part of the Loop, because we are bridging that artificial city-county border here, which is wonderful. It's half in the city and half in the county.
Okay.
There was a building that used to be a carpet company, a wholesale carpet company, and it was square, but the plot of land was real deep. So I figured I can finally do something that I always wanted to do, and that's build a really, really good martini lounge that happened to have bowling. And have people think of it that way, rather than a bowling alley that serves drinks. And that way people would just want to meet there. They might want to bowl, they might not, but it could be just a cool place to meet. And then have an Art Deco design with an innocent pinup theme, and those factors together hopefully would be a successful formula. And it turned out to be that. People love going there. They'll have children's birthday party in the daytime, office parties in the evening and after work, and then just socialize and meet there and bowl or drink really good martinis. And food too.
Right. Okay. We're going to go take a tour of this beautiful hotel, and we're going to go up the rooftop and look at those solar panels.
All right.
World, join us. Wonderful ideas, a lot of ingenuity, and he just went out there and made all of these things happen. We built Delmar Loop, so thank you.
Viewers are actually familiar with him, but he's so laid back. He's very warm and welcoming. He tells great stories. I've grown up in the Delmar Loop area throughout my life, so I've kind of seen some of the changes that have taken place through here, seen the developments that he's helped create. So I think he does a good job not only
Okay.
with a couple of athletes. Danny Granger, he's an NBA player for the Indiana Pacers. He stayed with us 1 week. It was after.
This is a spaceship in motion, it's in flight, and you can almost hear the whoosh of the exhaust.
Yeah. Well, we just went on a magnificent tour of the Moonrise Hotel owned by Mr. Joe Edwards here at the Delmar Loop. Thank you so much for
I love working here. It's a really nice experience. I'm Gladys, and I have 2 positions here as a hostess and a banquet representative as well. So working for Joe is really nice because he's a very humble, down-to-earth individual.
This is the wonderful lady who greeted me time I came through the door. Thank you, Gladys.
You're welcome, sweetie.
It is gorgeous.
The largest man-made moon, 3,000 pounds, 10
That is a 3,000 pound, the largest man-made moon.
This first part will be open, and then it'll be 60 feet of glass walls sliding open, so it'll be open in the good weather. Starting in May, this will open in late April. Starting in May, we'll serve brunch up here from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Solar panels that make up the moon?
A lot of the fun artwork came from old postcards from the turn of the last century, like in France and Germany and all. And it's showing just different expressions of people sitting on the moon. Some pictures of me with some of the astronauts that walked on the moon. There's Buzz Aldrin, the second person to set foot on the moon. He and Neil Armstrong were the first to go to the moon, and Neil was the first one to set foot. And about 20 minutes later, Buzz Aldrin. And Mike Collins, who was with Apollo 11, but was circling. This is Gene Cernan, the last man to walk on the moon.
Okay.
And downstairs, I have a really rare and wonderful photograph of me with Neil Armstrong, one of the most reclusive Americans ever.
Wow. Get the
These are so funny, I think.
I love them.
Just the expressions on the moon's face,
Do you know the artist who did these?
tickling with a feather and
Yeah.
stuff. No, it's over 100 years old. They're from the turn of the late 1800s, early 1900s. Some artists did it. You can kind of tell from the old clothing,
Right.
old fashions. I actually finally got to meet Neil Armstrong. And, he died now. I mean, he's no longer around, but unfortunately, there's a short summary of the Apollo 11 mission, how dangerous and exciting it was. And a couple of billion people around the world watched that happen in 1969.
Right.
I was thrilled to have met Neil Armstrong. I mean, he's just one of my heroes. The dangers that he and the others went through, just the risks they took are amazing, and it really helped science. It helped propel the United States forward in so many areas. Computers and everything that spun off of that mission. Hundreds of new companies formed because of all the research and development that was done. But he was just really a cool guy.
Now let's take a look at one of these magnificent display cases. How many display cases do you have in this hotel, Joe?
There are 5 on the first floor, 3 in the Eclipse restaurant, and 2 display cases in the lobby. But I'm going to add another one to the lobby in the next couple of months, and then build 2 more in the new moon room on the rooftop.
Tell us about what you have in here.
Well, just a bunch of things from toys, like little toy ray guns, commemorative spoons and all, a model of the plane that Chuck Yeager flew when he was the first human to break the sound barrier. And then here's a photo I have with a wonderful pilot, Charles McGee. 409 aerial wartime flights, and that'll never be broken. That record will never be broken because they don't let people fly that many flights anymore.
Okay.
The Second World War and the Korean War and the Vietnam War and all, and it's another hero. There's some.
I like your moon girl up there in the silver.
Oh yeah,
that's my kind of lady right there.
Right. No, she is styling.
She's tough, isn't she?
Yep. Yeah, I love collecting just a little bit of everything. Some of it's fun, and some of it's, just kind of really rare. And I'll show you some in the other display case that are rare. Just right. In this display case, I have autographs of every moonwalker, every man that walked on the moon. I also have one of the rarest moon items of all, and that's a patch that was taken by Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and Mike Collins to the moon the very first time man walked on the moon. And a handwritten letter from Michael Collins, saying, and it's autographed by all three.
Oh, I gotta bring my son here. He would love this place because he's fascinated by NASA and science and moon.
Yep. A lot of these are toys, including a metal rocket ship bank that I had when I was about 5 years old. You push down this one thing and put a penny in it, and then you press the red button and it shoots the penny up into the bank. Gives you that feeling that they are floating in space. Maybe they're orbiting the Earth. And you can just reach out from your spaceship and grab it.
Right. Kind of like a Jetsons feel too.
Right.
Now, these pieces over here.
In the future, it's a drive-in where the movie Forbidden Planet is being projected onto the moon, and everyone's in their little spaceship cars, going out on dates and watching the drive-in movie in outer space. And you kind of see Earth below it with the oceans in blue and part of the green continents. They're just having a blast watching the movie on the moon.
Then this one.
Out in the courtyard at the Moonrise Hotel, I installed the first electric charging station for electric automobiles of any hotel in St. Louis, and one of the few, any business in St. Louis to have one. People can actually drive up and plug it in, and a few hours later, drive away.
That is too cool. Wow. Well, we just went on a magnificent tour of the Moonrise Hotel owned by Mr. Joe Edwards here at the Delmar Loop. Thank you so much for taking the time, Mr. Edwards.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to frequenting this establishment again.
Wonderful.
Wonderful ideas, a lot of ingenuity, and he just went out there and made all of these things happen. Rebuilt Delmar Loop. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Bye.